Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of America in Black and White. Tonight we have a very special guest, Mr. Gary L. Choice, that is going to give us a lot of knowledge alluding to team building, public relations, and public speaking. Gary is a retired Air Force officer. He was a major with 24 years of service. A veteran that was retired postmaster from the United States Postal Service for over 35 years, with a demonstrated history of working in government executive level management administration. Gary L. Choice Sr. professionally skills in government emergency management, conflict resolution, team building, public relations, and public speaking. Mr. Choice is also strong in operational management and project management with a master's degree in divinity and business administration from Liberty University and Columbia State University. Bachelor's degree in industrial technology management from the University of Texas at Tyler, Texas. 3 different associate's degrees from Tyler Junior College, Dallas Baptist Theological Seminary, and Liberty University. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Gary L. Choice. Hello, sir. How are you?
We're good. How you doing?
I'm doing just excellent. Nice to have you here on the show.
We're excited to be here.
Yes, sir. So is there anything you'd like to add to your bio?
You hit everything on the head, with the exception of one. I am a pastor. I am a pastor.
Okay. So, and how long you been a pastor?
I started preaching in 1990. I've been a pastor since 2003. So I have a vast background in pastoral ministry, but my emphasis is church administration.
Okay. Well, see, that's a wonderful thing. Hey, look, at this time, especially with this being election year, we all need some prayer.
Yes, we do.
So, well, let's just jump right into this. What inspired you to focus on team building in your career?
Team building has been one of the aspects of my background, going back to when I joined the military at a ripe old age of 19. I turned 19 in the military, and that was one of the things that the military strives to insist upon you to be a great team builder. If you're going to have any longevity in the military service, you have to be a team builder.
Right. Oh, so what are some of the places that you've been stationed in your military career?
My military career started off in the United States Navy. I joined the Navy and I served up on the USS Yosemite in Mayport, Florida. I did a med cruise out of that destroyer tender. And then I went to school. I went to 3 different Navy schools. And then I ended up on the USS Kitty Hawk, where the team builder just took off. And I spent the next 3.5 years on the USS Kitty Hawk, where I got out and I went to college. And that's how I ended up in the United States Air Force while I was in college. So I have 2 branches of service. I spent 7 years in the Navy, 17 years in the Air Force Reserves, where I retired.
You mentioned the Kitty Hawk. One of my best friends, when we were actually supposed to go in the Navy at the same time on the buddy system, but I said no at that time, and I came in afterwards. But he originally was stationed on the Kitty Hawk, and when I learned of the Kitty Hawk, I'm like, oh my God, that's a floating city. That's a big carrier.
Yes, it is. We had 4,700 people on board that floating city, and we also had 122 aircraft on that floating city.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So, yes,
just in your career, when you say, how your team building actually took off, I mean, how did that work as to you learning to work more with other people? How did that take off?
It's amazing. The military is basically my cornerstone from everything that I am and everything I will be, which it also includes the ministry. But you have to be able to work with people, and you have to be able to identify strength and weaknesses in people. I used to always say, when you're building a team, you always surround yourself, and it sounds like a cliche, but you surround yourself by people who have strength that you don't have, and then you help them to achieve any goals that they have. So the thing that I look at was my success is I always try to help anybody that wanted upward mobility, anybody that strived to be better than themselves. And just like the Army, I look within and I say, you can be all you can be if you want to. And if you don't, well, you need to choose another path. And God has blessed me to have real strong people around me to, when they look good, I look good. And that's a key. That is really a key.
I will tell you, that's one of the things I'm so happy that we have you on the show, is because, here at American Black and White, our audience, that we target are those underserved communities that we are definitely striving to build. And we love to have inspiration, to get out to those people so they can actually learn to do just those things. They can build, they can be inspired, and they can move. So we definitely appreciate it. We're really happy to have you here on the show.
I'm excited to be here.
Can you share a memorable team building experience that had a significant impact?
One of the things that I would go back to my early years in the Navy, and it was amazing. You have to get those people that strive to be their best that they can be, and they don't feel threatened by you, and you don't feel threatened by them. And it's one of the cliches that me as a master mason of over 33 years, we always try to reach down and help our brothers up instead of kicking our brother when they're down. So when you look at that situation, one of the best things for me as team building is when they gave me my first, I guess, team, you would say, in the Navy. We had to all come together to strive to do the job that the Navy was wanting us to do. And one of the things that I saw at an early age, they don't wait for you to be qualified. Once you pass the test, you're in the water. You got to go for it right then. And people look at you and they said, okay, they gave you the promotion for a reason. Show us your leadership and go for it. And we did that. We became successful in that group, and I learned from that. And one of the things that I want to throw this out, there was a guy named Chief Homer T. Jones. He was the best influential I had ever seen, and he would get you to give your last dollar to him by making you feel it was your idea. And I saw when you tell people it's their idea that they want to be great, let them run with it. And that was the best thing. That was the best thing that I ever learned in my early age. And I just kept doing over and over and over, and it became successful in me.
Wow. How do you approach conflict resolution within a team?
I can tell you some stories about working for the United States Postal Service. You have to practice conflict resolution on a daily basis, because you will get the phone call, you will get the visit. Where is my mail? Where is my check? And you can imagine, you got to deal with that with tact. You got to deal with that with diplomacy. And a lot of people, I've learned, they want to be heard. And once they vent, and then they say, I know you can't do anything about it. If you could, you would have already done it. But thank you for listening. That's the biggest thing on conflict resolution. But you have those, what we call at the Postal Service, 2%ers. They don't care what you say. They don't care what you do. They will attack you and then that's how you got to show, okay, I can only do what I can do. You can go over my head. I have no problem with that. My boss is gonna be waiting on your call, and go forward with that. In everyday business, you have those two. So you just have to deal with it.
Right. So, what are the key elements of a successful team?
The key elements of a successful team, I think, is number one, know your strength, know your weaknesses, and then the team that's surrounded by you, either you pick the team or the team that was placed with you if you have a job, know their strength, know their weaknesses, and then work with them. Work with them on a daily basis, and let them understand that you not only care about them, you care about them outside of the job. And people want to know, do you care about their family? They want to know if they're having a hard day. You can identify them having a hard day, and you can say, okay, we all have bad days, and that's the truth. We all have bad days, and just let them know you have a bad day. The group is gonna pick up your slack. Now remember, they picked up your slack on Monday. On Tuesday, you gotta help to pick up somebody else's slack. If you having 2 bad days in a row, we're gonna have to look for some professional psychologists or psychiatrists to help you with that.
Look, sound like somebody may be going through a breakdown.
Yes, there you go.
So, with this being said, because how do you work this kind of magic when it comes to dealing with individuals in your church or in your community?
The church is one of those real strange entities to where when you're working with a team, everybody wants to be the chief and nobody wants to be the Indian. Wow. So you gotta really look at it is, okay, if you want to be a chief, you got to do the job. If you just want the title of chief, then you got to let somebody that really wants to do the job do the job, and you got to do it as diplomatic as possible, because some people feel, well, I've been here for 20 years and I've been doing the same thing for 20 years, and then not hurting their feeling, but you can tell them you haven't been doing nothing for 20 years. Come on. I mean, let's be honest about it. Tell the truth, shame the devil, and let's go forward. But if you want the job, do it. We're gonna get behind you. But if you can't do the job, then we'll try to give you some help. And then if you don't want that help, then bow out gracefully. But it's strange, but it can be done in the church.
So what about in your community with the people that you deal with in the community? Is that a little bit easier for you?
It's a whole lot easier. A lot of people, they tell me, they say, you sure you don't want to go into politics because you make everybody feel like they can do whatever, and no matter what they say to you, they might be bad at you at 1 minute, and the next thing they know, you making them apologize for you. And I said, no, I just let you look at it the way I look at it, and if you can't see it, what I see, then I'm gonna ask you what you see and help me see what you see. Community activism is real important. And in order to get anything done in your own community, you got to first of all identify a problem and then look for solutions. And you have to employ those people that are in that community, because that's the community you're trying to help. You employ them and then work on coming up with some solutions, not yours, as a group. And then go forward with those. And there are steps to take. You could take it downtown to City Hall if you have to, but make sure you have all your ducks in a row, because they have heard all of the stories. They've heard all of the excuses. They want to hear solutions. And when you bring solutions, then you have something to stand on, and they won't fight you on those.
Just one other follow-up on that is, I think about, as you're giving these nuggets for team building, in larger corporations, or even in some of these federal agencies that hire people, the bureaucracy always takes over, and team building is always an issue. Why do you think that's so?
35 years of the United States Postal Service, over 25 years in management. There's a lot of bureaucracy go on in the federal government.
Mhm.
On my last 4 years, I worked out of Washington D.C. with the Postmasters organization, and we had to deal with team building, and then we had to go across the street once a week to work with headquarters. And the number one thing they looked at is, we're the brain trust. You're
Right.
bringing us problems. Can you bring us solutions? And that's the biggest thing. You have to bring solutions. You just can't bring all of the problems, because they'll tell you, we've heard them all. Bring us solutions, and then let us know how we gonna work to make it happen. And they'll throw the we out there, because they'll throw you under the bus, and they'll say, well, your organization told us to do this. Blame them. And that's the key. So there's a lot of bureaucracy in the federal government. There's a lot of bureaucracy in those organizations, including grant writing. But you got to have solutions to problems that you're trying to take care of. And that's the key. That's the key.
So, how do you motivate team members to achieve their best?
You got to find out where they are. That's the number one thing. And I'm not saying their background, their educational level. You got to go to where they are, and then you got to say, what do you want to do? Well, I want to be, I want to do what's the best for my team. No. What do you want to do? Let's help you achieve what you want to do, and then on this team, whatever goals we have set, because we're gonna do it together. Let's identify the goals. Let's set some parameters on what we're gonna do. Let's define them, and then let's get that together. And we also gonna help you be the person you want to be. That is the key. A lot of times people just go into it, and if you've been on a team, and one of the great things about being in the military, you do role play, and if Sally Ann is the leader this time, support Sally Ann. Don't be the one that fights Sally Ann and try to take over. And then when it's your time, you should have that one ally, and that's Sally Ann. And when it's Jimbo's time, support Jimbo. I mean, you have to learn to be an Indian first, and you have to learn to be a great Indian. And if you become a great Indian and then learn from the mistakes of Sally, the mistakes of Jimbo, and then say, okay, this is what we didn't do good. Let's make sure that we don't make that mistake again. And let's go forward. Always, even if it's slow, always want to move forward. I think that's the key.
Wow. So I think that's some really good stuff there, because I think through everyday life, not only if you're talking about organizations, but you're talking about people in general.
Yes.
It's like these are some things that you can use to actually to get to understand and get to know people, as well as how you want to build when you're trying to build an organization. But I think some people, I want to know, like, let's just say, like, when you got that person that's got that difficulty of listening and comprehending, maybe understanding. Like, how do you deal with that individual?
I'm not gonna tell you that I woke up and I had this epiphany on life that I could do this, but God blessed me and my wife to raise 5 kids, and having 5 kids, all of them had 5 different personalities, and out of those 5, you was gonna have that one. They was gonna try you, and you was like, okay, if I kill you, I'm gonna go to prison. That's number one. And if I beat you up, I'm gonna probably get the same results. So let me figure out, Mom and Dad, how we do this together. So my background comes from what I learned with my family, and we had to do team building within the home, and I knew that if we did team building within the home, it would work in the church, it would work at the job. And I used to bring that up all the time. When I'd go into a new post office, I tell them, I've raised 5 kids. You're not gonna bring anything to me that I hadn't seen at my home. And since I've already seen it, you know, if you that child, I'm gonna treat you like that child. But if you're an adult, I'm gonna treat you like the adult. So when you have that strong-willed child, when you have that strong-willed adult, you go to right where they are, you go right up to them and tell them, look, we're gonna either go forward or one of us not gonna make it. I gotta take care of my family, so I'm gonna be here tomorrow. Mm-hmm. If you want to be here tomorrow, be part of this team. Let's do the job you're getting paid for, and let's go forward. And it was amazing. People would always say, why do you go into these places where nobody was successful? And they would work. I tell them, number one, I knew my job. Number two, I knew the job everybody was doing because I've done all of the jobs that I'm the manager over. And then I tell them, I know the job you're supposed to do. You've been doing it 15, 20 years. If you're doing it wrong, I'm going to tell you, you've been doing it wrong because the manual says you've been doing it wrong. Let's do it right, and we're going to do it safely and ethically. And that's the key. You just got to, my daddy told me this, and Charles, I got to give him the credit. He told me when I joined the military, I left a full scholarship to play football, and I joined the military, and he said, son, if you want to do this, he said, I'm telling you, if you're gonna play the game, learn the rules and play to win. And I had to do that. I had to do that, and it was successful. But if you don't know the rules, you're gonna try to make them up as you go. You can't play nobody else's game, and you don't know the rules to the game. Exactly. You got to know the rules.
Mm-hmm. You're exactly right. So what drew you to the field of public relations?
Public relations is the key to business. Public relations is the key to entrepreneurship. Public relations is the key to the church. Public relations is the key to community activism. You got to get out there and be that positive role. When I started that nonprofit, the number one thing it was drilled upon me is people don't know you. Why would they buy into your program? And if you don't believe in your own program, it won't work. So you have to, and I put the preacher hat on and off as I need to. The scripture says, write the vision and make it plain. And you have to really, you write it down, you look at it. If it don't make sense to you, it's not gonna make sense to anybody else. So write it down again, and then bounce it off. And it's the hardest thing to do, Charles. You bounce. If you bounce it off to family, they're gonna say you can't do it. You bounce it off to friends, they're gonna say you're crazy. So negative people, you gotta kind of weed them out and start looking for people of like mind and bounce it off of them. They'll tell you the truth. Now, family and friends will tell you the truth too. It might hurt, but they'll tell you the truth too. So you got to take it with a grain of salt and go forward. But public relations, you have to be able to sell your program. You have to be able to write it, make it plain, and then help others to see your vision. You know, I'm gonna put that preacher hat on again. It said, where there is no vision, the people perish. You got to do it. You got to let others see what your vision is. Again, they might say you're crazy, but if you have that higher power that's telling you you can do it, you can do it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. How do you manage a public relations crisis?
Oh, that's one of those. I call that you have to use that hat of what the Navy taught everybody on the ship to be a firefighter. It's not it's not when the ship is catch on fire. It's knowing how to fight the fire. So when that happens, you go into those emergency management modes of opportunities to where, okay, what did we do wrong? That's the number one thing. And then how can we fix it? So when you have those emergency situations, and they're gonna come up, if you're just if it's just smooth sailing all the time, how do you know the ship will take water when water comes over? How do you know how to deal with a crisis and you've never had a crisis? So you usually get those little at a time, but handle them as they come. You don't want to wait and say, I'm gonna put that off. No, you need to deal with it immediately. And usually those small things, all they need is to be addressed. And if it's in the community, if somebody is hollering and screaming about a little problem, let me give you a prime example. We were building one of our veteran homes, and I had a guy that he was in the community, and I said, I need you, I'm gonna pay you to make sure you pick up the trash every day. Well, we had a dumpster, and he threw it over the neighbor's fence.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the neighbor called because we, on our sign, we got our home number and everything. The neighbor called at 10:30 at night, and we told her, oh, we are so sorry. First thing in the morning, 7 o'clock a.m., me and my wife, we both were out there before the workers got there, and we were picking the trash up. Take care of it. And that right there showed we are people of our word. People want to know, what are you going to do? And then do what you say you're going to do. The number one thing that a guy told me when I applied for my first loan, he said, Choice, people want to know what you're going to do, and are you going to do what you say you're going to do? That's the only way you can be successful. You have to be a person of your word.
I like that.
Yeah.
What are the most important skills for a successful PR professional?
Communication. And the first thing you learn, and school is not everybody's forte, but if you're gonna be in business, you have to be able to communicate to a customer, and everybody has customers. Even if you're in corporate America, you have customers. So you have to be able to communicate effectively, both orally and writtenly, what you expect and what is expected of you. And that's the number one thing. If it's your customer, ask them what they want, and then make sure you tell them, okay, this is what I heard you tell me to do. And if they say yes, then okay, let's go forward. And if they come back and say, well, that's not what I said, and then you tell them, no, this is what you said. But if you want to make an adjustment, we can make an adjustment. It might cost you a little money, but we can do that. But this is what you agreed to do. Communicate effectively, and then write it. Write it down. Write it down. It's the key.
Can you share an example of a successful PR campaign you led?
The most current one that I've led is our nonprofit group. We're trying to help homeless veterans, and we got invited when they found out we were doing this for the homeless veterans to work with the city of Tyler, and word of mouth can either make you or break you. And people start hearing you're trying to help, and then they started saying, well, we don't see what you're doing. Can you help us? And then they'll start saying, okay, we know you can't do XYZ without money. So how can we help you achieve the goal? Because there is a huge homeless veteran population and homeless population period. So when we work with the city, it's called Under the Bridge Ministry. Once a month they go in and they all show up. We bathe them, we feed them, we give them medical assistance, we give them dental assistance, and then since this is a ministry, we give them a word or two. But we're not trying to convert nobody. We're just trying to give them what the military tells us. You have to look at a higher power, and no matter how you want to look at it, you have to come from within and have that higher power. And it has been successful. We just happy to be part of that. And we're not leading. We're the Indian. We're part of the movement on helping one person at a time. And you know, if you do one, you can do two. If you do two, you can do four. You just have to take it one at a time. And that's the best way to have a successful PR campaign, one at a time. And celebrate one, celebrate two. But you got to celebrate, even if it's just one. If it took you 6 months to get one, celebrate your achievement.
Mhm. You know something? I love that for a lot of reasons. And you know, as as I hear you speak this, it's like what you said the name of the organization was again.
Which one? The Under the Bridge, Under
Okay.
the Bridge Ministry. That's citywide. That's citywide. That's citywide. That's the whole city.
Okay. And so, like, what is the mission of that organization?
The mission of the organization is to show that, number one, the city cares, and number two, all different organizations, all different backgrounds, all different denominations, they all come together for the achievement of helping somebody that's less fortunate and showing them. And it's amazing. You might not have nothing but a hug, but you can put your arms around somebody and say, you know what, I care. And then you can literally tell them, I'm probably, and I said it for so many years raising those 5 kids, I probably was one paycheck away from poverty my own self, you know, but God's been faithful and just, and he didn't let me go there. But a lot of people, when they tell you their story, it's just that simple. They had hard times, and they don't really look for a handout. They're looking for a hand up. They're looking for somebody to, number one, identify, and then number two, can you help me get beyond where I am? And that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing right there.
Are they just in Texas or are they branching out?
There's different organizations that have these groups. One of the neighboring cities, they have the same kind of group, and I partner with them too because it's part of East Texas. East Texas is, you know, Texas is a large state, and it's broken down to east, north, south, west, and central. And you can leave one side of Texas and 10 and a half, 11 hours, you still in Texas.
Exactly.
So,
it takes a whole day to get through that whole state.
Yeah. They have them throughout the state of Texas. So, and there's support. You just gotta know where to go and look for it. And I will say, I'll give a little shout out to AI. They will show you where they are, and they'll point you the way, and they'll help you get whatever you're trying to get. You just have to make sure your voice is in there, because it'll sound like a computer.
Okay. How do you stay updated with the latest trends in public relations?
Those 5 kids I told you I raised, 5 different degrees, I make them tell me what's going on. And
that's part of that debt.
Yeah, that's part of that debt. That's part of that debt. You know, it's amazing, Charles. It's so amazing when you know that networking and putting a team together. I have 5 kids. I'm still putting my team together, and I say, okay, this business have your last name in it. So if we're successful, anything happens to mom and dad, it's yours. So it's going to either be good or it's going to be bad. But I need to know what's going on. And one of my kids, they're a PR person. One of my kids is a management person. One of my kids is a communication person. You know, and they know what's going on in their professional lives. And I'm asking them, tell me about your job. Tell me what's going on. Tell me about your heartaches. Tell me about your pains. And you know your daddy was in management all those years. I can give you some pointers if you want me to. and we go back and forth. You have to have that open door communication to where they feel comfortable that they can talk to you. And every now and then they might listen to dad, but most of the time they listen to mama because they know mama can get in dad's wallet when they can't.
Wow. So you got your own team already.
Yeah. We have our own team.
What motivated you to become a public speaker?
Before I was a minister, I knew that you were going to have to communicate effectively in a supervisor role, and then make sure people understood. It says seek first to understand, then be understood. You have to be understood, and if you can't communicate effectively, people will tell you in a minute, well, I didn't understand what you said. Well, did I ask, was there any questions? And then I had to start reading people, and you have to do that because I do that when I speak from the pulpit. I say, if you're looking at me like Alice in Wonderland, I'm instead of this 15-20 minute Easter speech that I'm gonna give you, it's gonna go an hour, and we might go an hour and a half. You gotta learn how to read somebody. So yeah. You have to have humor too, but yeah, that's true. You have to be able to read people. And when you read them, and if they look like they don't understand, some people they don't want to seem like they that person. And I'll tell them, okay, when you have that look, I'm gonna ask you that question, and then I want you to understand there's no such thing as a dumb question. It's only the dumb thing you did by trying to figure it out yourself, when I can help you understand what we both need to do. And that is the key.
Wow. So, like, at any of your speaking engagements, I mean, have you had people to come to you in that one-on-one situation to actually get that more information, but then also to tell you your inspiration to them?
That's amazing, because every time I have a speaking engagement, every time I'm doing public speaking, somebody, one, two, and when they see a lot of people are showing up, they always come up and they'll say that they'll share that with you, and it makes me feel pretty good. The big thing is I was at my last postmaster job, and a guy came up to me and he told me, he said, I took your class at church, and you have no idea how you benefited me on that class. Oh. And I looked at him and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm so glad. And I called my wife. I said, there was a guy showed up. I don't know who it was. And I try to know who everybody that takes my class at the church. I teach new orientation at the church. And I was like, I didn't know who he was, but I was grateful. And when I saw him again, I told him, I said, I remember you now. And he said, I know. He said it was like 8 years ago, 9 years ago. He said, but it's amazing. You remember me. It's a lot of people that was in our class. And he said, your wife was in that class. I said, that helped, because she was in the class too. So that did help. That did help. But yeah, it makes you feel pretty good when you speak and somebody got what you was trying to tell them. So that's a good thing. That's a real good thing.
That is. So that in itself, as you say, that's effective communication.
Okay, I'm gonna say that's good.
How do you prepare for public speaking engagements?
My uncle, who was the pastor of our church, and he was like the family preacher. When I first started preaching, he said, know your audience and talk to them. And when I'm preparing for any one of my speaking engagements, whether it's ministry or whether it's just public speaking, I have to know who I'm talking to, and then I have to know, as they say, do the 3 points and try to effectively do my 3 points. You know, as they say in speech, tell them what you're gonna tell them what you need to tell them, and then tell them what you told them, and then finish it with something funny. And if you have time, you can do a Q&A, but thank them for allowing you to the opportunity to speak. Which Grandma said, people don't have to do nothing for you. At least you can tell them thank you, and that's the truth.
That is interesting. So that means then, actually, when you're putting together just one of your speeches and so forth, so you're saying there's like an actual outline that you use when you're actually doing one of your speeches.
I do the same one whether I'm preaching, whether I'm teaching, whether I'm public speaking. I try to keep it at 3 points, you know, and I try to tailor it to be effective on wherever my audience is, to give them the 3 points, and then I close with something that they'll take away, and that's what I tell them. I want you to take away this. If you don't take nothing else away, I want you to take away this. And a lot of times that's usually what they run up and say, I got it. Thank you. That's the best part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So that's interesting because that's an area where I'm moving to next, and so I thank you for that, because now that's something that I just learned. How to actually put that together. Because sometimes I always wondered if there was an actual method to that, or if that's just something that people just do off the cuff.
No, it's the tried and tested. And if you have to go beyond 3 points, then you gonna expand how long you gonna be talking. So now if you giving a speech at corporate a 500 company, then you're gonna have to go in depth on more points. But then they tell you what they want. So you take whatever they tell you they want you to speak about, and speak on what they want you to talk about. And always remember, they invite you, and that was the number one thing. You are the best speaker when you get up. And they invited you for a reason. They want to hear you. They want to hear your story. And basically, you have a story. Tell them your story.
Right.
And what made you be successful. And that's the number one thing. They've read your bio. They've heard about who you are. Now tell us how it made you the person you are today. Because a lot of people, they'll look at you, and I always throw it out there. Just because I look like this today, that's not who I was yesterday. I've been through some things. I've had some heartaches. I've had some pains. I've had some sickness. I've had some grieving moments, and I understand. I'm not gonna tell you that the way you're grieving is the right way or the wrong way to grieve, because nobody knows the relationship you have with that. But I will tell you that it will get better if you want it to be better. But you don't have to say that okay, I got to get up. That's number one.
Right. Yes, sir.
I got to take one step at a time. I might fall, but I got to get up again. Donnie McClurkin say, we fall down, but we get up again.
We get up again. Yes, sir.
That's it.
Can you share a memorable public speaking experience?
The best one was I spoke at my little girl's 6th grade graduation, and I was talking to the kids, and I told them, I said, y'all make me feel young again, and I said, can I be one of y'all? And if they looked at you, you say, okay, I got to get somebody to look at me and say yes. And I said, can I be just like you? I said, what about you? And then you do a little nursery rhyme. You give them the 3 points because you got mom and daddy there too. And then you got to bring them all together and say, we can do this. Yes, we can. We've already graduated. Let's go forward. I want to hear you say, we can do this. Yes, we can. We're going to say it 3 times. All right. 1, 2, 3. And they like, wow. And the parents, not the kids, the parents said, I got so much out of that speech. You know, you made me feel like a sixth grader again. And I was like, well, that was the I wasn't trying to make you feel like a sixth grader. I wanted to get with them so that I could be with them. And they got it. Yeah. So
Wow.
that's the key.
So, how do you handle nervousness before speaking in front of an audience?
I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you I do not get nervous before any speaking engagement. The key is nerves, as Steve Harvey says, makes you be on your toes. So you take your deep breath, you go out there and you draw from that high power, and then you know your stuff. That's the key. If you don't know what you're talking about, they gonna let you know you didn't have a clue about what you was talking about.
Oh,
yeah,
that's gotta be horrible.
Yeah, and they will let you know.
Mm.
They will let you know. But if you know what you're gonna talk about, believe in what you're talking about, and then sell what you're trying to sell in them, which basically is your speech, and then thank them, and that is the key. But the biggest thing is know what you're talking about, and once you have it on the inside, and then let it come out. The number one thing that Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror, stand up there and give that speech, and I know when I first started preaching, my uncle used to tell me, go out in the woods, preach to the trees, preach to the squirrels. If they start responding, you're doing great. That's the best thing to do. And that's what you do. That's what you do. Talk to the man in the mirror.
Mm-hmm. Wow. What techniques do you use to engage your audience?
I try to, number one, I read them. I try to read their faces, and what I'm trying to deliver. If they're smiling, I'm like, okay, that person gets it. And then I scan the room. Now you have to be careful on trying to read people, because somebody will give you that look, and it might startle you. It might startle you. I've had that, and I felt too comfortable, and I was scanning the room, and that person looked at me like, as soon as you get off there, I'm coming to get you. and Charles, have you ever heard a preacher say, "Oh my Lord, God"?
He commented. Oh wow, that's interesting. So, but you know something. See, I really do like that, because it's kind of like these are definitely some really good things, I guess, to take in, because it's like just when speaking in general, just like even like we're having this dialogue,
right?
I always like to make sure that everybody's comfortable. But so like when we're like dialoguing, having these questions and so forth, it's like there's meaning and purpose, but it's like I like to make sure that everything is at that comfortable level, that everything is just within the realm.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what if now, as you just say, like how you misread the room. Like, what if you actually ask the wrong question or say the wrong thing? How does that come across, you think?
Well, podcasts are new, so you're looking across at the person that's interviewing you, or you're interviewing them, and if you ask that wrong question and they give you one of those, then you're like, moving on to the next question. Right. Which basically you have those backups. So that would be the best thing I would suggest. But I know it does happen. But because I've had interview, I was interviewing with people when I was a manager, and you ask those questions, and then you say, well, you got this on your record. You want to talk about it? No, I don't. Okay. You don't want to help yourself? No, I don't. Okay. Okay. All right. Do I really need to finish this interview? Because it's over.
Okay.
But yeah, you read them, and the more you make them comfortable, the better it is.
Okay.
And that's one of the keys. That's one of the keys.
What strategies do you use to foster collaboration and trust within a team?
I try to make sure that they feel comfortable. Number one, working with me, and then we go around the room and we share, and I spend as much time as I need to work on them being comfortable, and then I want them to understand that there's no dumb statements. When you're working on brainstorming, you write down everything, and then if it sounds crazy, okay, can we talk about why it sounds crazy? Okay, all right, well that's good, and then we go on, and now we got to go and we got to take it to another level on comfort. But everybody needs to understand. Let's put out the most craziest thing in your mind and let's write it down. And then once you get the most craziest thing out of your mind, now let's go with what we're here for and let's get the job done. And that's the best way I've looked at it. You can achieve it, but everybody have to be comfortable and bring everybody in. If it's a group of 3, if it's a group of 5, or if it's a group of 10. If one of them hadn't said nothing, I want to know what you got to say. And I agree. No. Everybody needs to hear your voice because you have a voice, and you're going to have one. They got all the answers, and after a while, you'll have to say, there's no I in team. Come on. Can you help the rest of them? What about that person sitting to your right? Help them because I know it's something there. They wouldn't be with this team if they didn't have something to say or some input. So let's get it in there. I bet you know them that good, and say help them say what they're trying to say, and usually they'll see. Well, I know they like so and so. Okay, can you tell us more about what you like? And that'll bring them in. And after a while, everybody's talking. But you need everybody's input that is part of the team to make them feel that they are important part of that team.
Teamwork makes a dream work.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Yes, sir.
Yes. How do you handle underperforming team members?
When they shut down, and you'll be able to read it. You'll call them out if they're doodling. You can make it a little joke at first. You can say, "Are we boring you?" You're over there drawing. You want to share with what you're drawing? You want to let us know what's going on? Do we need to take a break? And then you can call for a 5-10 minute break, and then you ask them, is it a problem? Because we got to do this. We need your input just like everybody else's. And I'm not going to let you off the hook unless you want off. And if you want off, then there you go. And usually they'll come in. But a lot of times when it's like that, it's something personal that they've zoned out. And you can tell them, hey, you want to take care of that, and then come back, and we'll go forward, but we're not going to go without you. But we'll go forward with where we are right now.
Exactly.
And you want everybody to feel like they are part of the group, and that will make the group successful. And when people not just hear you say, I'm the leader. They hear you say, I'm part of this group, and I'm proud to be part of this group. And if you want to name the group, you can name the group. This is team whatever, and not my team, but it's our team.
Mhm.
You know, and they feel ownership that way.
Right. Well, I'll tell you this. I have this is a very small team that I have that actually helps me with this production. This is a lot of work,
I
and
know it.
there's one of those things that a lot of people might not understand until they actually experience it. But I got to say, for the small team that we have, I think we do a hellified job with the production of these shows that we have.
You
And
guys are doing a great job. Y'all doing a great job. I want you to know this personally. Y'all doing a great job.
I really thank you, but
Yeah.
because like sometimes when you have to put in all that work, you want this product to be finished and make it to be about as perfect as possible. But you're absolutely right. Everybody has something that they bring to the table. But as small as we are, we got to get this thing expanded a little bit. But it's a lot, a whole lot. A production is a whole lot. I mean, it's worth it though. It's worth it.
One of the things that we talked about it, but when you celebrate the successes and you discuss the things that didn't go well, and make sure that okay, we know what not to do. Hey, let's go. And that's the biggest thing. It's the team part.
Right.
It's what and if it's just 3 or just 4 or 5, everybody has their strength, and your team, their weakness, and let them perform at the level that they need to perform, and let them also understand that they need to read you too. And if you're zoning out, hey, tell us what's going on with you. We need to help you just like you help us.
Right.
There
Exactly.
you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What role does social media play in your PR strategies?
Social media is at the top of, and it should be at the top of everybody's list of communication. That's part of communicating effective. Whether it's Facebook, it could make you or break you. Instagram, Twitter, whichever one. You need to be at the forefront of how to get your voice out there. And the number one thing, it needs to be your voice so that when people talk to you, when people hear you, they know whether they're reading your stuff or hearing your voice, they know who it is. So that's the thing. They call it branding, and that's what you're doing. Your brand.
Right.
And you're putting your brand out there, and you want people to have that positive spin, and if there's a negative connotation that comes on it, that's part of the team that needs to know how to spin it, work it, and make it a positive thing. Because somebody, we love to have where everybody gonna love us, but we know that's not real. So when it's somebody that says, "Oh, it ain't all that," okay. So how can we make it better?
Wow.
Well, that's your job, okay? You want to put it out there how bad it is, to tell me how we can make it better.
Right.
Yeah.
So, how do you build and maintain relationships with the media?
That's a good question. When you have that one PR person yourself, you're the jack of all trades. So you just have to. Everybody you talk to, you have a 5-minute speech that you got to sell. Whenever you post something, you run it by as many people as you can before you put it out there, because that's your brand. So you don't want to put it out there and it's not good. So the number one thing is your brand is who you are, and when you put it out there, on social media, make sure that you can stand behind everything that you put on there. I mean, your fact checks have already been they've checked everything, and what they say, you made the list and you checked it twice. You know what's naughty and what's nice. So you know, because somebody's gonna call you out on it. You might not think they might, but they'll call you out on that.
How do you tailor your message to different audiences?
The one thing that mine is, whether it's in the church or it's my nonprofit, my target audience never changes. Everything that I do is about ministry. Even my for-profit business that me and my wife runs, we look at it as a ministry. And the number one thing we're trying to do is help somebody. I used to tell one of my bosses, he said, "Choice, you look like you're trying to help everybody. What can I do to help you?" And I would tell him, if I help enough people along the way, eventually I'll get everything that I've ever wanted. And I used to say it so much, I was like, do I really believe that? And it started falling into place. And it's so true. When you help somebody and they let you know you helped them and you were beneficial, that's help enough. But when you need the help, somebody's gonna show up, whether you ask or not. Somebody will show up and you're like, okay, that's kind of weird. But then you think, I've helped enough people. I have some credit with God. He gonna send somebody my way because I need it.
Ooh, look, I need some credit. Ooh, boy. Look, let me raise that hand because I'm telling you, I've been there.
Yeah,
I've been there.
I know.
What are the key components of an effective speech?
The key components is your target audience, number one, and then having those points that you want to try to communicate effectively. And then as you wrapping it up, you have a story to tell that will wrap up everything that you tried to do. There's a book that says these are great ending stories. and I read the book and I was like, I don't like none of these. and then I had heard so many, and I said, I could have wrote this book. All I have to do is tell them about what grandma told me, what my daddy told me, what my mama told me, and how it made me successful, and that works. Those are the keys to, and I'm gonna say me, effective communication. That it was amazing when I was taking care of my mom before she passed. People said, "You are a wonderful child." I'm like, "Well, I had a wonderful mom. I'm just grateful that I can do this now for her." And they say, "You raised a good child," and then she say, "You don't know what I had to go through to get into this part right now." He wasn't like this all the time. Everybody got a story. Everybody got a story. So and it's so true. When you're trying to climb the corporate ladder, you're trying to do that, and then you have your own family. But at the end of the day, you make it right. You make it right. You make it successful, and you can always say, I did the best I could with what I had to work with at that time. And as long as I know, and God knows I did my best, that's all I could have done.
We're gonna play a little game.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you some words. And when you hear the word, I want to hear the very first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
Ready?
Okay.
People.
Wow. I drew a blank.
We'll come back around.
Let's come back to that one because I wouldn't have never thought you would have made that one my first word, because, and I can't say one. You know, in the back of your mind, people will let you down, but then people will surprise you too. So,
Well, next word.
go ahead.
Motivation. Motivation.
Team builder.
Positive.
Negative.
Communicate.
Effective.
Building.
Construction.
Create.
Build.
Money.
More.
Social.
Politics.
Speaking.
Effective.
Ownership.
Take.
People.
It's crazy in my head, so I don't want to say what's in my head.
So,
I really don't. I'm gonna be honest with you, because when you say people, and I'm gonna say surprise. Let me say that, surprise.
okay.
They will.
So with those words, I mean, like when you heard those words, how do you feel about those words and you and the things that you do?
It's amazing. When I think about me as a person, I try to be the best person that I can be. I try to be that person that and I give this speech every day, all day long. If you see me at the department store, if you see me at Walmart, if you see me at Popeye's Chicken or Church's Chicken, if you see me at church, that same person that you see wherever you see, that's the person that you're gonna see every time. I always told my children, I don't want anybody running up to you and they say something about your father that you're like, that's not the one that's at my house. When they say your dad is off the chart, he's that way at home. Your dad is unique, he's that way at home. Your dad is fun, he's that way at home. He likes to joke, he likes to do this. So I wanted them to have that growing up, and that's that thing. When you said money, you know, as I said, more.
Yeah.
And I asked this question to somebody: how much is enough? Yeah. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you shake your head. You know, you got one thing, one school of thought: more money, more problems. But you got another school of thought: if you using it effectively to help somebody else, the more you have, the more you can help. And that's my thing. That's what I want to do. You know, I want to help as many people as I can. And that's the bottom line.
So which one of those words stood out most to you?
Build.
Build.
And create. And that's what my kids tell me. They said, Daddy, you're supposed to be retired. And I said, yeah. And that one child, he said, y'all don't get it. I get Daddy. He wants to create a legacy. That's what he's doing. He's building a legacy. And they look at that one like they always do. And I'm like, wow, I didn't think nobody was paying attention, or I didn't think that would come from you. But I guess that makes a whole lot of sense. And that's true. That's true.
So can you describe a time when you had to rebuild a team from scratch?
That's the best team of all. You get to handpick your team. When you come into a team that was put together by somebody else, you have to accept their shortcomings. You have to accept them not wanting to be there. You have to accept if they're mad, you're the team leader. So you got to get through that and try to work with that. When you build your own team, you handpicked it.
Yep.
And that team is going to be what you make it, whether it's good or whether it's bad. But
Yeah.
you picked it, you got to deal with it. So you're gonna make it great. That's one of the things when I said take ownership.
Mhm.
You take ownership and you make it. You make it great. You're gonna do everything you can to make it great.
Yeah, I know that's right. So, what role does communication play in an effective team building?
Uh, your communication, as I say in my management role or team building role, seek first to understand, then be understood. When you understand your team members and you know where they're coming from and you know their background and then you effectively say, this is our goal. Now, how can we make this happen? I need everybody, all hands on deck. And I don't need anybody zoning out unless we need to take a break and then say we need to take a break, but we're going to come back in it and we're going to get it to where it's a workable process. And then we're going to go away and then come back and then we're going to go deeper and then we're going to take a break and then we're going to go away and come back. That is the best way. You just can't hammer it over and over and over because you'll get brain tired. So you have to step away from it as a good cook would say, let it marinate a little bit, and then come back. That seasoning is going to work in there. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
What are the biggest challenges you face in public relations?
Trying to get beyond negative connotations. That's the biggest thing. Or trying to get beyond misunderstanding. You know what you were trying to achieve, and somebody took it wrong, and that way, when it's like that, you're like, oh my God, it is so horrible for me to get you to understand I didn't mean that, and then they'll throw it at you. And I know you've heard this one. Well, that's what you said.
Yep.
Well, I didn't mean like that, but that's what you said. Well, can we start over? I don't know. Okay. Well, I didn't mean it. I apologize, and from the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry. Can we start over? And you have to let that, as we said earlier, you gotta let that marinate for a while. And then come back, and eventually, you can't keep saying every time I see you I'm apologizing. I said over and over, I'm sorry. We either got to go beyond this or we don't, and if we don't, that's okay. We can agree to disagree, and that's how it is. But on a PR nightmare, you got to try to spin it and spin it and spin it till you can get a positive note on it, and then run with the positive. Try to get away from that negative connotation because the temperament they're in is hard to overcome something negative. So you got to say, okay, all right, that's who I was yesterday. That's not who I am today.
How do you tailor your PR strategies for different audiences?
You gotta make sure that person that's strongest in whatever audience you're going into, let them do the background for you, and then let them bring back, okay, this is what we need to focus on, and you got to trust them. And your team have to know that they trust you. Now, how much trust can you give them? You don't really have to give them carte blanche, but you got to give them enough that they know you have faith in them to do the job that you required them to do, which is the key.
And so, how do you handle difficult questions or interruptions during a speech?
Well, most of my speeches are one way. So you know, the only interruption I'm getting is the amen. But if you over there hollering and screaming, you know, take a drink and say, "Can you go and help that one over there?" The Holy Ghost really got him, and then go forward. but now hecklers, I don't know because I've only been heckled one time, and yeah, and I'm like, you really want to go there? And they looked at me like I would look at Mama when I was in church, and Mama say, as soon as I get you out of church, I knew what that meant, and then I didn't have that problem no more. But I to have a heckler to heckle in the middle of a service or a speech that I was trying to give would be really, really, really traumatic, you know, because I would probably make that statement. I woke up this morning looking like the person you looking at. If you want to meet that person, as soon as this is over, you can talk to that person one on one. I'm gonna give you permission on that, you know, and just let me finish this, and then me and you can have our one on one. Because obviously, you want some attention, and I'm gonna give you the attention you're looking for.
I like that.
And I've had to do that. I've had to do that. I really have. I really have. Yeah. At one of my post offices, I had a gentleman, and he wanted that attention. And I told him, I said, you gonna get the attention. You might not like it, but you're gonna get the attention you're looking for. You know, just give me a few minutes, and you're gonna get that attention.
Can you share a time when the speech didn't go as planned and how you handled it?
Yes. I really wasn't as prepared as I thought I was. And it seemed like I could hear crickets in my head when I got toward the end of that speech, and they were all looking at me. And I said, I even had that look of disbelief, and I said, thank you. And it was like one or two claps, and then you heard the dry claps, and I was like, wow, I guess I won't ever make that mistake again. I thought I got this, and I really didn't. I was not as prepared as I should have been, and I made sure from then on I was gonna always be overly prepared, never underprepared.
How do you measure the success of your team building efforts?
If our goal was achieved, then I want to celebrate. If we went above and beyond our own expectation, we're gonna have to find some champagne and really, 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 you know, throw a party, because those are times. And again, small celebrations, you know, you can have a tuna fish sandwich on a good one, and then you go, you get larger. But celebrate all successes, and then you assess the things that didn't go the way you planned. You know, even with a speech, you every speech that you give, and after 33 years, 34 years, every one that I give, I go over and I say, I could have done this better, and this is what I should have done. And I sing the song, and my kids, they hear it all the time. The woulda, coulda, shoulda song, and you know you can do better, and if you know you can do better, you ought to do better, and that's the key.
So, can you discuss the importance of ethics in public relations?
Right place, right time. You know, you have to be ethical. You really do. And in a professional setting, you want to be professional. And again, right place, right time. And if it calls for you to change the temperature, then you have to change the temperature. You know, and If you have to say, okay, that's enough, you know, and a lot of times you can walk away, you know, but as they say, I'm walking away. Don't put your hands on me. And I mean, you know what they say. It is what it is.
It is
It
what
is
it
what it
is. So, so our last wonderful question for you.
Okay.
What advice would you give to someone looking to improve their public speaking skills?
The biggest thing that I would give anybody that want to improve their public speaking skills is start off by reading, and reading is fundamental. One of the teachers when I was in college, and I had that. This is a personal testimony. I had no idea that I couldn't read. I was ADD, and I saw things backwards, and I didn't know it. I was great at math. I could do math. That's why I have an engineering degree. But I didn't know that I was seeing words backwards. I was looking at life from right to left instead of left to right. And the teacher, she noted that at me, and she retrained my brain. And the number one thing this teacher told me, she said, Mr. Choice, I see you have a desire to learn to read. Let me help you, and then let me help you get the skills to write like you talk. And that is the key. Once you start reading, and then start talking like you read, and then start writing like you talk, you'll start communicating effectively. They go hand in hand. I had no idea that those two went together, you know, and it was shocking to me. And when I read my very first book for the first time, I was a junior in college. I cried. It was amazing. I've never been able to do that. I mean, you know, you can read magazines, you can read a technical manual, but you're not reading it from cover to cover. And the first thing the teacher said was, "Who in here get a headache with study?" And I looked around, and I'm thinking somebody else gonna raise their hand. I hope it's not. I'm the only one in here. And the teacher, she said, "I'm gonna help you." She said, I've been looking at your test scores. It's a whole lot of y'all in here, but I'm gonna help all of y'all, and we're gonna achieve this in this class." And it was true. It was true. I didn't realize when I was studying, when I was reading, I was getting a headache because I would read the same sentence 3 or 4 times, and then I get frustrated and throw it down. And you know, people wonder you have an anger problem. Well, it's a frustration problem within you. And once you get beyond you, that's everybody's goal. If they don't take nothing else, try to get over yourself. And if you don't know you need help, somebody can help you if you just ask for help. And you can't help anybody if you need help yourself. I just had that conversation with my grandson, and he told me, he said, "Papa, you told me this a couple of weeks ago. It is so true. I didn't know it was going to happen right now, but it happened." And it's a success story. And you can share with somebody if you get the proper help that you need. And that is start reading, and you know, take a small book, take a little pamphlet, and make it a goal. Read the whole thing from cover to cover, you know, and then take your little big cheap notebook and write down what you got out of it. You know, again, we go back to write the vision, make it plain, and then that's a small goal, and then take something else and start reading out loud. I thought the teacher was picking on me. So she said, everybody in this classroom don't read. And I made the mistake of saying, you just picking on me because I'm black. And she said, you and all your blackness can leave my classroom. Oh, I wasn't expecting that. And I showed up at her office, and she said, are you dropping my class? I said, no, ma'am. She said, good. She said, you want help? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, okay. I'm gonna help. Yeah. So
That's cool.
Reading. Reading is very important. Reading out loud is very important. And then with your speech, write the whole speech out, word for word. Read it, and then go with an outline, and cut it down, and then go back through it. Go with another outline to where you've read it, you've outlined it. Now put it to memory, and that's the best way to do it. That's the best way that I've learned to do an effective speech. That it becomes successful because it'll come out with people. They'll say, "You said all of that off of your mind." No, I had some points, and I just used key words to bring out key triggers in my mind, and that's the key.
So, in closing, is there some things you'd like to leave with the audience, including how they can contact you, how they can better serve and help you with some of the organizations that you work with?
Yes, I'm the founder of Choice Enterprises and Associate LLC. We founded it in 1986. Me and my wife got married in 1990, and we formed Choice Management Services Group to work on our rental property and the properties that we own. We have websites for Choice Management Services Group, which is www.cmsgtyler.com. That's www.cmsgtyler.com. You can see our whole operation on our for-profit business. You can also see that I didn't make it up. I have 5 kids. All 5 of my kids are part of our business. We have a family business, but it's not a mom and pop. It is a real business that we do real work. Our nonprofit is Victory Through Faith Ministry. That's Victory Through Faith Ministry. What we do is with to help homeless veterans. Our website is www.vtfm.org. That's www.vtfm.org. It's the letters of Victory Through Faith Ministry. And what our program is, we're helping homeless veterans, and we're taking them one veteran at a time. We celebrate our successes, and anybody that's looking at a nonprofit, you do need to understand that there can be some failures that you will have to grow from. So there's reward, and there is some failure that you have to grow from also. But our program is online. We tell people that the for-profit business is successful. Our nonprofit is growing. And if you want to get in touch with us, you can go through our websites, send us an instant messenger at Gary Choice Senior, and I'll get back with you as soon as possible. And we want to thank you, Mr. King, for allowing us to come and share with your audience what we have figured. God has blessed us tremendously.
Well, I want to tell you, I want to thank you because, there's a lot of things that I actually learned, and I appreciate you for spending time with us because those things that you actually mentioned are very, very important. And I think for those that we have in our target audience have learned a lot from you as well. And I definitely appreciate you for spending some time with us. I would also love to, I hope that you would come back again on the show because, this has been really, really prosperous. And I really want to thank you for taking the time to come out.
I told you we're brothers from another mother. So whenever you want me to come back, just let me know. It's on the calendar.
Yes, sir. And I want to thank each and every last one of you for watching, especially those that are watching on the YouTube channel. If you are watching on the YouTube channel, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications button. Every time we do a show, if you're not able to catch the show when it goes live, you're able to go back and watch it, and you'll do that with no problems. I want to thank you, Mr. Choice, again. and the audience for spending some time with us. This has been prosperous. This has been wonderful. Thank you all. Have a great evening, and we will see you all tomorrow night